Spiro, if I can have you come and take over the next panel. By the way, I'm absolutely thrilled that we had 3 major ship owners with us, but above all that we had the IMO with us. And I think, given the timing of the discussion, it was particularly important to have Royal with us. So thank you for being with us today. So if, Spiro, if we can take over, if we can have the panelists, please join us.
Great. So I think we can start. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Nikos, for the opportunity to moderate once more a panel on digital and new technologies. The most important theme of shipping we hear in the conferences, and we heard also before in the previous panel, is of course net zero, decarbonization, new fuels. And I don't know what shipping can do on that. Definitely, we have heard numbers by Ioanna Prokopiou that speak for themselves. I think by 2030, a lot has to be done. But certainly, one thing that can be done is a keyword of efficiency. And I think efficient ships, the ships that are already in the water or the ships to be built, can be more efficient, so the target of net zero could be closer. A key player, I think a key issue on that is digital technologies. Here we are to speak about them. You know, AI is in the hands of everybody today. We like it or not, I think it will play a crucial role. We are living a revolution at a faster pace that we can never imagine. You know, before coming to this panel, I asked AI to give me some smart ideas to share with you, so to make a good impression about opening the panel, but I have to confess it's not me. He said artificial intelligence is transforming the maritime industry by introducing advanced systems of predictive analytics, autonomous navigation, route optimization that reduce costs and emissions. From weather forecasting and predictive maintenance to enhanced safety and operational safety, AI acts as a catalyst for a more sustainable and secure shipping sector. The integration of automation and intelligent algorithms is shaping a new business landscape where technology and green growth move hand in hand with innovation. Not bad, I think. It's a good try. But we have real people with us to discuss today, and people, professionals that would try to show some ideas on how we can use this technology, how we can embrace this technology in our companies. And we have technology providers, we have ship owners, managers that are with us today. Let me present quickly them to you, starting from the lady of our panel, Eleni Polychronopoulou, President of ERMA Tech Group. Gary Lloyd, Chief Architecture and Strategy of 90% of everything. Alex Hadjipateras, Chief Operating Officer, Dorian LPG. Tim Ponath, CEO of NSB Group, and Theo Baltatzis, General Manager of Technomar Shipping. So the obvious question to these people, I think, at least the ship owners, managers, is what they do. I think they can share with us ideas, and I would like to start opening this discussion because we would like it to be a discussion as much as possible. The clock is ticking so fast. My God, you are stressing us a lot, Nick. So the question is, what type of investments have you done, your company's done, as regards digitalization of your fleet operations? What are your plans of the future? Tell us everything about how you adapt such solution on board and ashore. How do you balance the drive for automation with the need to maintain operational resilience, important thing for shipping, and flexibility across your fleets? Alex, would you like to start breaking the ice?
Thank you, Spiros, and really good to be back here. Thank you, Capital Link. I would say as a general statement, it's great to see how AI has played more of a pivotal role in shipping, an industry which potentially historically you could have classified as a bit of a laggard when it came to adopting new technologies. And I think we're at a stage now where we're learning how to use AI as a tool and to improve performance generally. At Dorian, we've embraced AI with regard to voyage optimization and weather and routing, and how to tackle some of the low-hanging fruit that the previous panel discussed in terms of reducing consumption and speed trim analysis. Looking to the future, I would say on new buildings, we try to be a little bit more sophisticated, and we're going to work with some machine learning algorithms to not only send data to the cloud for analysis, but to pick out specific clusters and anomalies that we can use to provide advisory services to the crew, potentially with machinery uptime, downtime, but not only, with other areas where we collect data from the sensors on board. So I think we're at a very exciting part in the journey, and the future is bright.
Thank you, Alex. So efficiency, I think, is for you as well something you are looking very seriously. Theo, what about you? What about your fleet? It's a huge fleet of container ships.
Yes, we do. Thanks for inviting us again, Spyros and Nicholas. We are seeing into IE as an opportunity for our fleet. We have extremely high demand from charterers because they are very proactive. As you know, the container market is very consolidated, and there are big players there that they are far ahead of us. So we have to follow, and the use of digitization and AI in our daily operations is something like a must for our fleet. We have moved into great investment on this area, and I have to say that if you allow me to elaborate a little bit, we have 5 pillars of investment and application of technology into our fleet. I'll briefly give you the heading, and if you want, I can move further down the line. The most expensive one is energy-saving devices per vessel, and this is usually a chunk amount of money, but it has payback period something between 1.2 to 1.5 years, which is not bad. Second on the list is the performance data analysis of the operation parameters of the vessel. Third on the list is regulatory compliance, and of course, all this has been done by creating a stability and standard infrastructure, IT infrastructure on the fleet. Last but not least, another investment, which is substantial also, is about the training of our people, not only ashore, but also the seafarers, which sums up the whole profile of activities that we are currently investing on. I can elaborate as long as you want for another hour on each one of these topics. Thank you.
Thank you. So do you get better charter rates by your charterers for these investments? You do?
Not really.
Okay. Good. Tim, what about you? And you manage vessels, but you also offer a broader spectrum of services, I would say. So you touch a little bit both worlds.
Yes, exactly. So we primarily manage vessels, but we have started to look into the supply chain deeper and cover with some of our services and organizations as well that side. So we are building the bridge between, or let's say we know both sides, the ship ownership management side, but as well as the supplier side. So if it comes to artificial intelligence, we have introduced online performance monitoring a decade ago, and so if we talk about this is for me nothing very new. When we talk about investments, it's hardware and it's software. And on the hardware side, we are hardly depending on the owners, so which way do they want to go? Recently, or a year ago, we installed, for example, CCTV. This is nothing new, but they have image recognition. So that means the cameras are trained, or the software is trained to give an alert if a specific thing is happening. So you do not need to watch this video for hours, but the AI is capable to give an alert once a special incident is happening in one of these areas. Another thing which we have looked into, and this is now what gives such a big sense in the industry, is the fast speed of technology developing. So a few years back, we have developed with a partner the first bots, so RPAs which can do easy stuff, supporting your colleagues. And last year with, let's say, increasing technology, large language models, GPTs, we have started to look into agentic AI. and we had the first agent working in a test environment last year. And this worked so well, so that over time we have developed further agents. So currently we have 6 agents working in our organization, 4 in accounting and 2 in procurement. And they are, let's say, now we have hybrid teams. So we have a hybrid accounting team with 8 accountants and 4 agents, and we have a hybrid procurement team, and more agents are under development within this year. And currently we are just using them ashore, but the idea is by Q2 2026 to support as well the crew with this technology on board.
So more agents means less jobs for your people, or is this a theme that is always in the back of our minds?
Exactly. So if you're talking about artificial intelligence, first you hear that we are cutting costs, cutting jobs, but that's not necessarily the case. So what we are currently doing is increasing efficiency, increasing quality, and for our human being colleagues, if I may say so, we are heading for more qualified tasks in our operation.
Yeah, that's important. So, okay, so we heard what companies managing vessels, container vessels, LPGs, other types of vessels are doing. Gary, you represent a technology provider, and I would like to ask you what are the steps that can be done to ensure a smooth and inclusive transition among the stakeholders, so ship owners, technology providers, and of course the regulations that we need to follow.
Thank you. I think AI and digital technology are kind of fundamentally reshaping how we think about shipping operations. But it's not the science fiction of autonomous vessels that gets the headlines. What we're seeing is a much more practical and immediate reality of AI tools and technologies that support the profitability, compliance, safety, and competitiveness of the industry, which is currently facing unprecedented challenges to decarbonize and to digitalize. So I think the transformation starts with breaking down the silos between the different departments. If we can put real-time weather data alongside engine metrics and combine that with the charter party conditions, then it allows captains and shore-based staff to make much better decisions and get much better outcomes. Instead of all these different departments looking at different versions of the truth, they can actually look at one unified intelligence platform. And that creates opportunities across all aspects of operations, whether it be some of the things we've heard around AI-driven route optimization to make sure we can minimize the fuel consumption while ensuring on-time arrival, or whether it be looking at sensor data from the engines to do predictive maintenance to ensure that we're proactive in replacing parts before they fail rather than waiting for them to fail. There are sustainability benefits as well if we can use AI tools to analyze our emissions data to make sure we can better comply with the regulations in Fuel EU or CII. That allows us to better manage our fleet and reduce our emissions. But the critical point, and it comes back to your question, is that this technology is designed to support people rather than to replace them. We're developing seafarer-centric technology to try and make sure that we don't replace, or we can't replace the irreplaceable value of human experience and knowledge. What we're trying to do is augment that with context-sensitive information to allow them to make the best decision they can. So ensuring a smooth transition requires a lot of deliberate steps. I think it's critical that the drive to transform comes from the very top of organizations. The leaders have to be absolutely clear about not just what's going to happen, what's going to change, but why it's changing and what outcomes you're trying to achieve by that and what success looks like for everyone involved. And it's really important that we support individuals through that process because naturally when there's a transition, there's fear. People we've heard already are worried about, are they going to lose their jobs? Is the technology going to replace me? And if you don't manage that, then that fear will translate into rejection of new technology, which actually means you're going to not achieve the outcome you want to get to. So it's important to recognise that chief engineer is not being replaced by a predictive maintenance system. They're being freed up to work on high-value tasks, do strategic maintenance planning. An operator's not being replaced by AI route optimization. they're being offered context-sensitive information so they can make the best decision in high-pressure situations. So I think the companies that are succeeding in this transition are investing in training, they're clearly communicating the value of the tools they're introducing, which then allows people to understand their jobs aren't going away, they're actually being freed up to work on higher value work. And this in turn means they become more enthusiastic about the transition and embrace the new technology instead. So I think this approach isn't just sort of ethical, it's practical. The maritime industry runs on an enormous amount of expertise, experience and judgment that we really can't automate. And so the digital transformation succeeds if we use AI technology to amplify that human experience rather than attempting to replace it.
Thank you, Gary. A lot of information that you shared with us. Eleni, you manage a group of companies that offers many solutions to the industry. You know, talking with you many times around panels like that or other discussions, you have your own company also undergoing such a transformation, I would say. So can you share us a little bit of information on what tools are you adapting in your company? And of course, if you like to refer on what you offer. Absolutely.
Of course.
Time is ticking, eh? Guys, please take care.
Okay,
No,
we are doing so
don't be
much,
stressed.
but okay, I will try to summarize. So thank you, Spyridon, thank you, Capital Link, for being here. So we started about 6 years with our own investment in digitalization to offer advanced solutions for emissions, operation, machinery, and performance. So at that time, we used algorithms, codes, models, training models, machine learning models, and the whole digitalization and AI framework seemed quite far from us. But then ChatGPT came, and that was our Sputnik moment. At that time, we realized that we have to move really fast. Because in the beginning, there was the approach that, okay, AI is going to assist small, medium companies to become so efficient as the larger ones. But the truth is that the large companies have more money to invest, so they can be far more advanced in AI. So there is a very, very big race right now. And I think it's a matter of clever implementation in each organization on how to take the best advantage of what technology can offer. So I made a list of what we are doing. And some of them are very straightforward. I hope that the others can give also some inspiration. So first of all, Copilot, mail, text writing. We were supposed to train our people in English. We will not do that because they have ChatGPT. So they are going to send perfect emails from now on. In these emails, we can detect the sentiment. So we can detect if the customer is happy or not, and then take actions and prioritize. We can also use AI to distribute the correspondence to whoever is responsible, because in large organizations, sometimes you get lost in CCing whoever you think is appropriate. Copilot in Teams, meetings, transcripts, follow-up, tasks, suggestions for moving forward. We have our IT assistant for coding, for troubleshooting, and we have a prototype support bot, which gives automated replies to the tickets sent by the users. Our HR assistant for CV analysis. Previously, we used it to search LinkedIn, but now, unfortunately, it's over. It was great while it lasted. Finance assistant for financial and operational insights. Marketing assistant, creating visuals, creating content, analyzing competition, and providing market insights. Our technical support agent, which is actually 10 agents managed by one agent, trying to provide the necessary troubleshooting, service report analysis, and engineering reports and customer feedback. We also use it for data cleansing, data protection, drafting documents, internal memos, policy writing. I mean, it's amazing to spend like 2 minutes for one policy. It's unbelievable. And then customer service. We do we have integrated Power Automate flows for classification, for routing. We use metadata to enrich our ERP. We use data coming from our ticketing system, our CRM system, and combine them so as to have the full perspective of each vessel and each customer. Legal assistant for contracts. Okay, this can be tricky, but at least it gives some very straightforward insights. And we have created our own app inside the company in order to have planned summary, dashboards, and most important, predictive KPIs for support ticket trends for the invoice and the payment risks, of course, the needs for parts, and then we are creating a narrative for BOD level for the vessel and the project overviews. So our plan is to evolve the agents, what I have presented to you, in a way that this will cooperate under one leading agent who will eventually have a place in the board. Now, you asked about people and what will this mean for the jobs. For us, it was a necessity because of talent scarcity. We cannot find enough people to do the job. There is so much competition for talent. So the ones that are actually employed and can actually do the job will be the ones that will be wanted by each organization. So yes, great plans from our side. So who knows, maybe at the next Capital Link you will have our bot having here the presentation for you.
Of course, we discussed last year with Nicholas, and we were thinking also to implement in the panel, but then Nicholas said not cut any panel positions because it would transmit a message of cutting real humans in respect of AI. Anyway, Eleni, so you did a lot. It's a matter of culture coming from the top in each company. I would like to jump to Tim, and you know, there is a fear in companies in implementing such solutions. How can we mitigate, how we can cope with the fear of jumping on the AI train that you told me once?
Yes, this is a very good question. So first to Eleni, impressive how deep you have integrated all this technology. So it's good to see that many of us are working on that. And then the next question, is there really a fear? I wouldn't call it a fear of missing out, but how to onboard on the train of AI, right? And let me quote from Harvard Business Review in April 2024 on a question if the business strategy is bold enough. And 45% of the CEOs said they do not believe their companies will survive more than a decade if they stay on their current course. So, and I think this is, if we talk about fear, probably the biggest subject we are all in. Do we understand the development of technology and can we cope with the speed? So me in person, if I'm seeing what is all going around, sometimes I ask myself, and even though I have gray hair, but I'm far from retirement age, do I cope with all these things? But what can we do? We need to. And so in an industry which was always considered to be very traditional and depending on which you are focusing on, so as we are talking as well about our assets, the vessels with a lifetime of 25 years, and even though we need to decarbonize, retrofits are not every 6 months due, right? So this is one side of our industry. The other side is how do we operate ships and how do we make use out of technology when operating them. And I think this is where every one of us, if it's a ship owner, ship manager, supplier, needs to ask ourselves, how can I make best use out of it? And as we heard from Eleni, there are a lot of examples already in, and I just knew a few of the audience, but the question is, where are you on this road, and are there any fears? A few years back, probably as an example how I tried to deal with it in our organization, there was all this discussion about autonomous ships. I haven't heard about it for long. Probably I read the wrong media. But I had a very young, smart graduate, and I asked him, they're all talking about autonomous ships, but what if we see autonomous ship manager in the future? So I left him alone in 2019 with this question, and then he started to look around what is necessarily needed for this task. And of course, developing technology, which I haven't expected 2019, helped a lot. In 2022, he quit, almost. So we created a spin-off with him and his team, and we said, that's beyond maritime industry. And now he's serving clients in non-marine industry and marine industry and providing these AI agents to them. And talking about fear, maybe let me close with one sentence, that it's depending on your personal vision, how you want to make use out of technology. And once you have this right and clear, I think there's no question about fear any longer.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. So there are risks and there are challenges in adapting these technologies. There are fears. I would like to ask Gary to give his opinion on that, on this, how we can cope with the challenges and risks of AI.
So I think the question really is not about whether or not AI is going to drive a competitive advantage or not. It's about whether companies are going to be intentional about the way they develop their AI strategy or whether they're going to just sort of fall into using the tools. So the differentiation is not going to be about whether people can go out and buy AI route optimization or predictive maintenance. Anyone can go and do that. It's about whether they're going to take responsibility for their AI architecture, as we've heard from some of the panel, to make really intentional decisions about how they're going to adopt this technology and push their vendors to share a unified context across their organization. And I think if you can end up with a route optimization system that can talk to your chartering system, that can talk to your crew scheduling platform, then you really can unlock the true power of the agentic workflows that we hear about. And what that means is then that decisions taken by an individual department, so your commercial team make a strategic decision to change something, that change will ripple across the system without having to communicate across all of the different teams. And that one choice is actually then properly reflected to get the best outcome for the company. But this requires treating AI as a kind of a core competence. You can't rely on external companies to provide it for you. It's not just technology. And I think the companies building competitive moats are the ones that really understand this and are investing in their own AI roadmaps, as well as how they're going to interleave those with their current vendors. But talking a bit about the challenges, I think one of the biggest ones is the organizational inertia. This is a big change. Shipping companies are still kind of quite formal in their decision-making processes, and that can mean slow decisions, but actually AI allows things to move a lot faster, and we need to make sure that the governance strategies keep up with that. And we've heard as well about the skills gap. We're not just competing with AI technologies to get the latest skills. Actually, we need to make sure that we're bringing people with maritime background and expertise along for the ride, actually investing in training them too, so you can get the best out of the technology that you're investing in. There's a financial backdrop to all of this. I think the days of all of the AI stuff being funded by VC funds is behind us, unfortunately, so we have to be a lot more deliberate about how and where we invest and making sure we start small, prove value, and then roll that out and scale it across the organization as we understand it better. And the risks, I think, are substantial. We are in an industry where safety is paramount, and we can't just rely on AI making recommendations. The consequences of a poor decision could be really catastrophic. And so that's why keeping human in the loop is not just sort of, good practice, it's essential. But there is a bit of a paradox there as well, that if we roll out this AI technology across our organizations and let people get used to it, what happens when the skills atrophy and people forget how to do the core of the job, and the AI then fails, or you have an unprecedented situation? How do they make the right choices in that situation? And that comes back to kind of really making sure we are deliberate about how we adopt the technology. I think one of the most concerning things for me is the explainability. It isn't going to be satisfactory to say, because the AI told me when something goes wrong, and I think things do go wrong, particularly in maritime. It's a challenging situation, and so we have to understand how we're going to communicate why we made those decisions in retrospect. But so just to conclude, really, the competitive advantage comes from disciplined AI adoption, and we need to prove value while maintaining our safety standards and make sure we keep the human expertise at the centre of our critical decisions.
I liked what you said about being a core competence AI. That's a key thing, I think. Eleni, how do you think these things are discussed with your companies that you are offering this kind of services? Are they open to this transformation in accelerating these changes, cultural changes, and how do you see this cooperation? Then I would like to go to Alex with some other aspects, all these risks creating also even legal issues that we have to face. Please, Eleni.
Right, so when I started in the industry, we were just selling a product, installing it, and forgetting about it most of the times. I mean, at that time, service was not such a big deal because everybody knew how to deal with equipment on board the ships. These things have changed a lot, and now we see that we need partnerships. We need owners to be partners with vendors, co-develop, give constant feedback, because digitalization and technology are moving so fast that if you stay behind, you simply have something at the end which is not going to be usable. So there are many solutions being developed right now. Some will flourish, some will disappear. And one main reason will be the data, the quality of data, but also the availability of data. All systems must be structured, engineered, and designed in a way that the data is available and it can be used by a variety of applications on board or on shore. It is very important to be able to have integrated platforms. So choose solutions, but have a complete package. We have, in my company, we have, I don't know how many softwares, maybe 10, but what we have succeeded was to have one user interface. So getting API from here and there and there and there, and collecting the data and do some design thinking, and having one complete image of what is happening. So we are seeing the creation of an ecosystem. We see that there needs to be a lot of cooperation, a lot of partnerships, and a lot of exchange of ideas.
Thank you, Eleni, for that. We have 3 minutes, let's say, left, but I would like to go in a topic that always comes to my mind. Alex, we discussed a little bit about it. P&I insurances, other implications of AI systems deciding on board. How do you see that in your company and in general?
So, yeah, I think in my role as a director in the UK P&I Club, I see AI as a real game changer in terms of risk management and claims sort of analysis, especially from the point of view of the club. It provides a kind of broader view on how to look at different incidents and use AI as tools for increased safety. But I would also stress that this word augment that I heard next to me, it's very important that we maintain situational awareness on board. So be it in the bridge or in the engine room, we really want to use AI within our company, and I'd advocate in the industry as a tool to augment knowledge and not as a replacement, because if we try to replace, that could potentially lead to further incidents and create some legal implications as well. And then lastly, talking about regulation, and we have the EU AI Act, I'd say about transparency. We've seen some very innovative companies. For example, there's a company that allows different seafarers to wear devices, and you can monitor from the shore side their metrics in terms of fatigue, which is a big pain point for us. But transparency and everybody being aware of what data you're looking at is very, very important in terms of legal implications.
That's very important. I'm sure we would need to go deeper on that for the dedicated panel maybe in the future on these kind of other implications rather than technological ones. I would like to close with Theo. You said already, Theo, about what your company has done. You are investing on that. How you put them together with the people how you integrate the people of such a big company with all these systems.
Yeah, there's the usual concern how people are going to react on changes, and that is dead natural. I have to say briefly, of course, Tim, Gary covered the lot. I have to say that technology does not eliminate people. So people are needed, and they have to integrate human and AI insights in order to end up with an environment that eventually is going to create a safe and consistent approach to standard maritime as we know it altogether. We shouldn't fear about AI. I have a very simple example to give you. As long as we treat it with respect and being trained on that. It's like driving a very small 1000cc car and one day they give you a supercar to drive. The capabilities are dramatically a lot more than the initial car you had. As long as you drive it safely and you are trained driving a supercar, definitely at the end of the day you are going to enjoy more compared to driving a very small car. So be cautious, people have to be involved, have to be trained. Always technology is going to be there, is going to bridge the gap between the ship and the office, however, is not going to replace the human element.
Thank you, Theo. So as they say, jobs are not to be lost by AI, but by whom knows how to use it. So I think that's a main thing that we get. Changes are coming from the top. I think you demonstrated, all of you, this clearly. Time is already finished, so we don't have time for any other questions or audience questions. I'm sure we will have later opportunities to discuss during the breaks. I would like to thank Theo, Tim, Eleni, Alex, and Gary. I thank all of you. A round of applause. See you next Capital Link.